Doing top-down analysis with advanced Malaysian SNR, which I called advanced Malaysian SNR top-down analysis. We start from the monthly, and because we start from the monthly doesn't mean that we'll be analyzing the market every monthly time frame every day. We do monthly analysis at the beginning of the month. We do weekly analysis at the beginning of every week and daily analysis every day. So first of all, I'll keep this. Then I save this. I'll just type it, then load it, storyline. Now this is what you're going to have also. I have there the monthly, weekly, daily. This 4 hour just optional. Then the date here is for me to know the last time I updated my analysis. So let's start from the week. We just started a new month. So since we started a new month, you're going to start from monthly analysis to see the storyline on the week. Looking at the storyline of the week, I'll see what is the current storyline. If I check here, I'll see that there is no rejection here, so there's no storyline starting, nothing. The last rejection we had was on this resistance here, and after that resistance, that was on December. In December, that was in December. After that rejection, what happened? Was there a change in storyline on weekly? Because you're doing this on monthly, this monthly analysis. If I go to my weekly time frame, you see that there was a rejection on monthly and a breakout here on weekly. So I can say now that we are bearish on monthly time frame. Now we are done with monthly time frame. I'll remove all the charts or the drawings. Now we're done with that. I'll go to weekly. I want to see what I have on weekly. On weekly, do you have what is our storyline on weekly? There was a rejection here. And probably there was a breakout also. That was when the week started. This was on March, last week of March. That's when the storyline started bearish. And if I look here also, there is a rejection here. This is a current rejection on this weekly. So here we have a rejection here. After the rejection, what follows? What follows after the rejection was a breakout on, let's see if there was a breakout on daily. This is the rejection which we have here. I'll keep a line there. That was the rejection. I go to daily and check. There was a breakout on daily, there was a breakout here, also a breakout here. So we can confirm a bullish storyline on weekly. So I'll update it here. Bullish. B, it means bearish. B, it means bullish. Now I've done that. I'll remove all my chart again. Now it's for me to know the storyline on daily. Is there any storyline on daily currently? There is a storyline. Where did the storyline begin? We want to check. The market has been going up. We had, well, where's the storyline? Okay, this was the same place the storyline started. Okay, this OCL here, because we always say our storyline should come from a fresh zone. So if I'm looking from this OCL, if I drag it, this was the rejection, and also rejection, and there was a breakout here on daily time frame. See, daily reject, daily breakout, and there's also a confirmation on 4 hour also. But since I've gotten on daily, there was no need coming down to 4 hour. This was daily reject, daily, and this was the 4 hour breakout. So we are bullish on daily. I'll update that to bullish, that we are bullish on daily. Weekly and daily. Now I'm going to update the date, so I know the last time this has been updated. This is today is 3rd May. So I'll update that means my last analysis is on 3rd May. I'll add a time to it, so So I know this is 2048. Now I've gotten everything. I know my storyline. Now, since I know my storylines and everything, what am I looking for next week on weekly is going to be buys. What I'll be looking for on daily is also going to be buys. So let's start with weekly, because the first place you want to look for entries should be on our weekly before moving down to daily. So next week on a Monday, we'll have a candle that is going to open like this. So when that candle opens and start running, this OCL will be valid for entry. Remember, this support has been used already, so this OCL is going to be valid for entries. So I'll mark this OCL. This is what I'm looking at for next week. I'll mark the OCL. Remember, this OCL is from weekly. Then I give it this weekly OCL. So that's the weekly OCL. Now inside this weekly OCL, because when this new market opens, this is going to be the valid place for entry. Inside this weekly OCL, we are going to draw a box from the OCL to the shadow beside. Take it down. You can extend one step to the right. Then I want to look for a key level inside there. Since you're looking for buys, you're going to look for support. We have a valid key level inside here, which is this key level. We have a QM on daily, and we have here a support on daily also. So these are the two key levels to look out for next week. Now, since you are coming from weekly, the TTFL is going to be on 4-hour, and looking for TTFL, I think this QM has a week. We are going to mark that week, extend one step to the right. Then I'll do the same thing for the supports we have below. It has a week. I'll draw this thing here. Then I'll extend one step to the right. Now going to 4-hour, which is going to be at TTFL. If I see here there is no key level, meaning my equilibrium is going to be what I'm going to use as the TTFL here. Then on the QM has a support here. This is what I'm going to use as my TTFL. So now when we open next week, if the market decides to come more lower and he wants to use weekly key level, we have two perfect key level to look out for. The first one is going to be this key level. This is the TTFL. This is going to be the key level, and the second one is going to be this one here. So if I'm picking my trades from this key level, what am I looking at for? I'm looking at for this is how I'm going to enter the trade. I place my entry on that line. Since it's USD JPY, the stop loss I use is going to be between 55 or 70, which is going to be 55 will be 5.5 pips, 70 is going to be 7 pips. It's going to be from here. Then I target here, which is going to be 1:49. Now sometimes people complain that they miss some trade because the market came, tapped here, just this line, and left, and because of spread, your broker might not trigger you. To solve that issue, what you do after getting where you want to enter, add extra pips on stop. Now we have a stop loss tip of 7.0. If I increase this thing like this, move up, we now have 7.5. I can continue going up to 8.0 like me. That's adding extra 1 pips above. From here, that was 7 pips. I can add 0.5 above or 0.8. Now this is 0.7. Now the stop loss pips is now 7.7. We've added extra pips above. Now my new entry is not going to be this line again, it will be this line. So when I mark this line, which I'm using for my entry, it's good to use a different color, a color that is different from black. So when getting the numbers here to use on to place a trade on your trading view, you see the number, right? So you won't make mistakes with the number. So this is how I get my entries. Now if I want to pick entries on this extreme here, I'll still do the same thing. It's the same process. My entry here, use the lowest stop loss speed, which is 5.5 or 70, but since I'm just starting out, use 7.0. then extend your, where do I want to take my profit, above here, which is going to be 1:55. Then this is my entry. Then I add extra pips above, which is going to be like extra 0.8 or a full 1 pip. Okay, from here 7.0, 7.3, 7.4, this is 8 here now. Then this one here, this new place is where I'm going to place my entry, here above this place here. Now if you want to just get the number of pips, I can take this ruler, place it where I want to enter, then drag it up. You see the figures is changing. Here is 1.1 pip extra, here is 0.9, there is 0.7 extra pips. I can just keep it there. Then I draw the same line, a line above. Now this line now is my new entry. I'm not entering here again, I'm entering here. So if I pick the trade now from here, if the market comes down, the market when coming down to tap me in, if the market just come back, tap here, this line, the first place, and leaves, my broker will trigger me, because my entry now is not on this line. My entry was here. So that whole process is using coming more lower to tap here. My broker will trigger me in already, because that's a very big move. So that is how I trade without my broker making me to miss that trade because of spread. Now after we've gotten where we want to enter on weekly, most times market will not come to weekly, it will use daily key level. After we've gotten this on weekly, we'll go down to daily to see if there's any good key level for us to use. Now we've gotten our entry. This is the first entry, second entry on weekly. Let's go to daily. This is how the day ended. This is how this Friday yesterday ended. So when the new candle opens up, the market is still bullish. We're looking for buys. We have a support here, we have OCO here, we have one lap OCO here, we have this. So the closest to the market is going to be this place and this one lap OCO. So I'm going to mark this one lap OCO. This is for daily, to see if there's any key level on daily that the market might want to use. That's for daily. I'm going to call it daily. That's one OCO. Then let's move down to inside that one lap OCO. Let's see if we're going to see any key level which is going to be support or QM below that key level. If I go to 4 hour, because 4 hour is going to be our SCFL. On 4 hour, yes, we have a valid key level, which is, now we have this support here. This is the support on STFL. We have this now, a very fresh support. This is on daily. We get our entries on daily and also on weekly, because sometimes the market will always use the one on daily first before using the one on weekly. So the one on daily, the market will use it first. Sometimes the market will come down again and use the one on weekly, but sometimes we won't come back to use that one on weekly, just the one on daily and it moves. So after marking here, let's go to TTFL to see Yes, on TTFL we have an unfair support here, which we are going to use for our entry. Now we have this. TTFL is unfresh, but doesn't really matter. But if you're scared because it's unfresh, you can use the equilibrium here. But we are going to use this one. We are going to use one because that's the last time frame, just for refinement. So if I'm taking my trade here now on daily, I want to take this trade based on daily. What am I waiting for? I'll be waiting for the market to come here. This is my entry point, the TTFL line. The same thing, I use my 55 or 70, which becomes 7 pips. Then my, I want to take my profit where the market is coming from here, because the market is bullish. The only thing that will make the market not to come back here is that the market wants to change storyline, and the market don't just change storyline like that. So the same thing, I add extra pips above to cover for spread, so my broker will not say I missed the trade because the thing just tapped on that line. But if the market taps when coming back down, enters, then your broker will trigger you. But if the market just tap this line and leaves, then your broker won't trigger you because of spread. So we don't know the trade that will dip more lower and leave, and the one that will just come to the line then leaves. So to avoid any story, what we do, we add extra pips. Bring in my ruler, can just keep it here, add extra like 0.8, which is okay. Let me 0.7, then drop it there, then adjust my entry to that 0.7 I added. Now I've secured that position. Now why am I taking my profits on this part? Is because this market, I'm getting this entry from my daily, and going by the daily time frame, I would like to use, okay, not here, I would like to use here, because this is the daily key level. This is going to act like a resistance when the market opens. That's going to act as a resistance when the market opens. So this is where I'm expected to take my profit. In case the market wants to reverse, I have to come to this place again. But if the market does not come here, this is daily. Now this is our daily entry. This one below is our weekly entry. But before market comes to this weekly entry, that means the market will first, before coming here, the market will first use this one on daily. We first use one on daily. Remember, your entries, the market will always use the closest to you first. Since we have entry on weekly and entries on daily, the market will use the daily first. After fulfilling the movement, it might come back to use the one on weekly. And also note, when it's coming back to use, maybe after tapping here, it went up here, you're in TP, the market hits your TP. If it really wants to come back to use this one on weekly, there might be a change in storyline on daily, meaning that storyline change is going to lead the market down to this part. Now, where the market does not use here, the market does not use here, the market does not use here. That means maybe the market wants to use this key level here, or the market wants to use this key level here. So anyways, if the market says it don't want to use here, it doesn't want to come here, but wants to use any of these two, this is when we now wait for confirmation entries. Then we can now, after confirmation entry on here or here, we hold the trade until it gets to this obstacle here. Now this is how we do top-down analysis here. Now let's move down to gold. This is gold. You are done with USDJPY. Let's do the same analysis on gold, starting with monthly. Now, why do we always analyze at the end of every week? Because if I go back to USDJPY, This is the end of the week, and you see that at the end of the week we have a clear direction to trade. We know what we're looking for when the market comes back the next week. We don't do top down from monthly every single day. We do monthly analysis once in a month. We do weekly analysis at the beginning of every week or at the end of the week, which is I always do mine on Saturday or Sunday. If I do mine on Saturday, I wait for the market to open on Sunday, I place my trade. That is it. So let's go back to gold. We have this. What do we have on monthly? The market is bullish. There's no, this is May. This is April here. Okay, this is monthly. This is monthly. What do you have on monthly? We had bullish, bullish, bullish throughout April. So if I go back to monthly, do you have any change of storyline? No, we don't have any change in storyline. The market is still bullish. Monthly is still bullish. Now let's move down to weekly. Weekly, we had something here. Let's see, what do we have? We had a resistance that was created and the market rejected the resistance this week. After the rejection this week, do we have a change in storyline? Let's check daily to confirm if there was a breakout. There was this rejection here, there was this breakout here, so we have a change in storyline on weekly. So weekly, what do we have now? We have bearish. Then on daily, let's see, do we have any storyline on daily? Yeah, we should have a storyline on daily. What do we have? We had something like this. Let's see, what was the storyline? The last, okay, we have this in here before the week closed on Friday. We had this daily reject daily here. Let's see, was there a breakout on 4 hour? No, there was no breakout on 4 hour. This resistance here was created after the market tapped in, so this is not a breakout. The breakout to come from would have come from here, so we are still bearish on daily. And when did this bearish storyline start? It started here where we had weekly daily reject daily and 4 hour breakout. This was a rejection there. It was a rejection and this was a breakout. Since then we've been coming down. So daily is bearish, daily bearish, weekly bearish. And this last analysis is coming from 3rd May. This 3rd May, and let me update the time. This is 21. We'll be doing this every week. 21:08. No need of writing AM or PM because 21 is PM. Now we know that this is what we have. If I want to look at weekly to know where the market will, what the market will do on weekly, if the new market opens, the valid place on weekly, in case the market wants to use weekly, is for me to, this is this OCL here. This is, what OCL is this? This is resistance OCL. Just remember resistance OCL, which I'm going to write here. Weekly resistance OCL. Then that is weekly resistance OCL. Does it have a week beside it? Yeah, it does. From here to this week here. Then I extend one step to the right. Then I go to the second time frame, STFL. Inside STFL, what do we have? We have, I'm going to use this one. It's fresh. This one is what? Remember, this is our line chart. This is what? This is internal break, internal apex break. Remember, IAB resistance. This is internal apex break resistance, which is valid to use. Now normally I would have used this one, but this one is no more fresh. Remember what I said is STFL must be fresh. That's how you get a perfect zone to use on STFL. STFL must be fresh, so I'll mark this one because this is the one that is fresh. Then I can still mark the STFL has a week, so I can take that week, which is here, one step to the right, then go to my TTFL, there's nothing there. Then I take the equilibrium, which is here. So if the market wants to use the weekly sales coming back to this place, that means I'm taking my trade here, then I'm taking my profit out here. So if I place the trade here, since you're just starting out, which stop loss should you use? 3 pips on gold. I'll put it here 300, which is equivalent to 3 pips. I see the 3 pips. Then my TP should be down here. This trade is coming from weekly, so should be down here. 1:44. Then to avoid all those scenarios where you enter a trade and it tapped you in, even on MT5 it touches your entry but does not tap you in because of spread. To avoid that, we add extra pips. So how are we going to add extra pips? From here where I'm entering the trade, I come down, add extra pips. That is 0.33. I can do 0.4. Then draw that line. The purpose of using a different color line is for me to know the figures which I'm going to use. Now if I come here, I know that these two colors are different. The one here, this lighter color here, is what I'm going to add on my MT5 as my entry point. Then above here is going to be my SL. That one is easy. Look at your SL here, look at the entry. But if I'm using a black color here, you might be confused. Is this the color, is this the right entry or this one? So using different color will help. So I do that. Then I target, this is going to be 1:38. I target down. That is for weekly. I've gotten what I want to trade on weekly. But before market uses weekly, if there's a valid key level and valid entry on daily, that's the one the market will use first. So daily is also bearish. I go back to daily to check to see if there's anything I can trade the opening of the next week. Now this market closed here, and if I want to check, this is an OCL. Inside this OCL, daily OCL, that's 1 lap OCL, daily 1 lap OCL. Let's see if there's any key level in there. If I check, there's a key level above here, which is this resistance on, you see that this is a resistance here, and this doesn't mean that the market, and this resistance is strong. Why is this resistance strong? Because this resistance rejected, remember, rejected, forward reject, forward resistance, formed a resistance and broke out. So that resistance is strong. So now that we have that resistance, that's our STFL. Let's mark the box, STFL box, then go to TTFL. Inside TTFL, what are you looking for here? Resistance or equilibrium. Resistance or QM. Where there is none, we use equilibrium. So I go in here, we have a resistance here, a fresh resistance, very perfect. I mark it. So this is where I'll be taking my trade using the daily storyline. The same thing, I place my entry, adjust my stop loss, place my entry, adjust my entry to cover for extra pips, just like we did. 300 for 3 pips. Then I add extra pips there, that is maybe 0.5. Now watch this, this is 3 pips. So if I adjust below, come down, now almost 3.5, almost 3.5, let's make it 3.5. okay, let's just leave it there, 4.9. So now this is where I'm going to use as my entry. I'm not going to use here again. I'll use here so it can cover for extra pips. Now, why am I using here? Because I don't know if this market will come more deeper. And the market comes more deeper like this and drop, it's going to trigger me in even if I put my entry here. But what if the market come just tap this our entry line then drop? It won't tap you in because of spread. So since you don't know if the market will come more deeper or the market will just tap that line, you add extra pips so that if the market comes to your first entry line and drop, the market touched here, but this is where your entry is, there is no way you're not going to be in on that trade, no matter how big that spread is. So we cover that and we look for our, since we are bearish, expecting the market to come back and take out the low, the last low it created on daily, which is going to be, okay, we can decide to take it this obstacle here. It's going to be an obstacle. So this low support that I created here, we have to take it out here. Take out 80% here, allow 20% to run to the other side. So that's going to be 1:20. You see how these things are easy to do. Now, what if the market does not come here? The market does not come to the weekly also. Just simply means that the market might just come to this OCL here or this SBR here, and what will happen? The market gets here, come to this part, you get a confirmation entry or continuation entry. Remember what we did the last video 9, we get that confirmation or entry, 1 hour reject, 1 hour, 1 hour breakout, comes back to 1 hour resistance, then drops. That's the next thing. You see, anyway the market wants to behave, we are still going to be in the trade. So this is how we do it, and that's how we're going to place our entry. Exactly what I'm showing now is exactly what I'm going to do, how I'm going to place my trade on this daily and this weekly. And I traded this one once, but after that I didn't trade it again because we respected it once, and since I was looking for a small setup from it, but I didn't get set up. So using the idea you've gotten from how we did our top down on gold, USDJPY, you can use that to do the same thing and try out. I'm not saying you should go and trade other pairs, but just look for it to analyze other pairs and see how it works. Even our 1 hour confirmation entry was working perfectly on this BTC. After BTC did rejection here on, was it weekly or daily? After the rejection on, because BTC I didn't trade it for a long time because it was so uncertain. All this movement here, it was so uncertain, there was uncertainty, so I ignored it. But now there is a clear movement. So there was a rejection here on daily, reject daily, breakout on 4 hour, which you can see here. After the breakout on 4 hour, see how the market was just moving. Okay, this was the daily reject daily. This was daily reject daily happening here. This was a rejection here, and on 4 hour was the clear move started after this rejection, because on 4 hour this high was created after this market came to this rejection. So I'm not going to count this one. This was the clear breakouts. Now it was not clear from this point. So from there, if you look at this, you see that we had a lot of entries. 1 hour entry was there, 4 hour entry was there, everything was just moving clearly. Rejection, breakout, the market came back again, resistance was created, a long wick, equilibrium, tapped it and go. And on BTC, I used the pips I used between 250 to 300 pips. You check the same thing here, you used it. And another continuation entry was here. If you check, okay, let's see, there was a rejection here, 4 hour rejects, 4 hour support created, breakout here, also a breakout here. So expecting to come back to equilibrium, it came back here, you enter, it leaves. Now when you are doing 4-hour reject 4-hour and a breakout, you don't just mark 4-hour support or 4-hour resistance. After you mark your 4-hour support, you go down to SCFL. Your SCFL will always be 1 hour. Then inside that SCFL, you look for key levels first. And what are you looking for? Is support or resistance also you're looking for. You look for its support. Then if your SCFL also has a long wick, you draw a line covering the long wick. And inside the long wick, you look for equilibrium. That's all. That's how we treat 4-hour reject 4-hour. When you have 4-hour reject 4-hour, we go down. 4-hour reject 4-hour, there's a breakout. 4-hour create support or resistance. The next thing we do, inside that 4-hour support or resistance, we go down to 1 hour. 1 hour is going to be our STFL. Inside STFL, what are you looking for? Support or resistance also. Then after marking the support and resistance on that STFL, you now check, does it have a wick? If it has a wick, then that wick, inside that wick, take equilibrium of that wick. That's all. That's how you trade it. And that's the same thing that happened here on BTC also. That's how we trade it.